We can get started. So hi everyone, welcome to Alpha's weekly webinar. Today we have an amazing panel on artivism, the power of arts to convey messages that need to be told. So I'm going to go ahead and let the participants introduce themselves. I'm Manuela Sevi, and I'll let Lea start off.
Hi everyone, thank you Manu and Renata for having me today. My name is Lea D'Auriol and I'm the founder and executive director of Oceanic Global. So for those that may not know, Oceanic Global is a nonprofit that engages new audiences around ocean conservation. And one of the ways that we do so is by tapping into universal passions such as art, music, emerging technologies to raise awareness for issues impacting our oceans and to provide individual but also industry solutions that drive positive change. So art has really been always very core to the way that we engage people around this. It's a very accessible, emotive medium. And it's a way for us to also bring in different calls to action. So really excited to be here talking about artivism, especially at the end of World Oceans Week. So today is Friday the 12th, and on Monday the 8th was World Oceans Day, which we actually partnered with the UN to host the UN World Oceans Day event. So, and that actually, this year's theme is innovation for a sustainable ocean. And I think we've definitely seen the role of art playing an active role within that theme in finding these different types of solutions too.
Amazing, amazing. Renata?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Hi everyone, I'm Renata Thom and a co-founder at Alpha. And I'll be sharing a little bit about our experience with working with Lea and Oceanic Global back in 2017 when we developed the Artivism Challenge. So very happy to be able to speak a little bit about that.
Fantastic. Lea, so I think to kick us off, why don't you tell us about a interesting project that you were involved with in the past and, you know, how you use the arts as a tool for transformation? What were the learning experiences involved, and you know, how did that push you forward as an individual as well?
Lots of questions. I love it. So, I mean, I guess you go to, let's start from the beginning. So actually, Oceanic Global was birthed out of an event that we did in Ibiza in 2017 called Oceanic Ibiza. And Oceanic Ibiza was a one-day event that brought together 5,000 people. And the way that we brought these people together was actually by utilizing the power of art. So we had around 30 different artists on site that were showing anything from 3D installations to you know, VR content to photography, etc. We had a lot of physical performers. So we worked with performers, for example, from like Cirque du Soleil, etc., that were actually telling these stories of ocean conservation issues, whether we're talking about coral reef bleaching or ocean acidification or plastic pollution through performance. We actually had music, so we had DJs as well as live music on site. So really using art to bring people together, and then once that they were on site, conveying these different calls to action, as well as empowering people to take action at an individual level around ocean conservation. As a result of the event, Ibiza actually pledged to go single-use plastic-free by 2023, and that's where the foundation grew out of. So I wanted to share a quick 1-minute video that just really showed what we did to kind of give a glimpse of how we've used art in the past and really why that's core to our philosophy as we've moved forward and partnered up on projects, for example, with you with the Artivism Challenge. So let me just share my screen. Great. See if this works. And one of the parts I didn't mention in the video you just saw was, when we think of art, there's so many different mediums. But for example, all the costumes that you saw, we had actually partnered up with Parsons School of Design, actually in New York. And the students had upcycled all of those different pieces of trash into those costumes, which was worn by the performers, etc. So really just making sure that the storyline was continuous there, and we were engaging people at all different levels through this. And actually leading up to it, one of the things that we did is it took us a year to actually plan this event, and we actually partnered up with local artists to create 8 different installations out of plastic waste. So we hosted beach cleanups with local nonprofits throughout the year, and then came together and created these installations, and each installation was telling a different environmental story. And I have a little video in Spanish actually with English subtitles that shows you a little bit more about that work. Just share my screen one last time here. Okay.
Todo lo que estamos viviendo en este momento de contaminación, de falta de respeto entre los seres humanos, entre los animales, es para mí fundamentalmente una falta de empatía. Entonces, el arte es el ámbito que ya lleva dentro la semilla de todo, del amor, del respeto.
Estamos recogiendo el plástico del mismo bar de Ibiza, llevándolo, transformándolo en esculturas, arte, son performance que van a girar en torno a esto, ¿no?
I don't think a lot of people understand how many problems we have in the ocean, so we've kind of developed the storyboard to create awareness of all the problems in the sea.
Incitamos en la sociedad a partir de estas esculturas es que debemos de parar de consumir de la manera que lo hacemos.
But in order to make a change, we need to be touched emotionally, feeling, my God, what are we doing? Feeling deeply touched in the terrible consequences of our lifestyle and make new choices, change their behavior.
El arte es un lenguaje universal. El arte y la creatividad nos llevan a crear nuevos hábitos, a amplificar la conciencia humana.
Porque no hay discriminación, hay que llegar a todos, porque el objetivo es unión y reflexión y acción.
La acción viene de la conciencia, ¿no? Sin conciencia no hay acción.
It's great, Lea. And, congratulations on that project. But there's another project that I feel like would be very interesting for us to talk about that, also featured a beach cleanup and a sculpture with found materials. And, maybe Renata would like to talk a little bit more about the Artivism Challenge in 2017.
Oh God, I get a little bit emotional because I feel like in a personal and professional level that was so transformative for us. So basically when we met with Lea, I think it was like a little bit before the launch of the Beta project. We didn't really know like how we're gonna bring our companies together, but like there was an obvious synergy like about like using art to convey important messages. But I think throughout the project, like it ended up growing so much, like and getting like even like bigger like importance like in our lives and in our company, because we've learned about the urgency like of the problem, like and how we should all be involved. I think like your hashtag, our choices matter, like and everyone's choices matter. So the works that Manuel is showing right now is actually the final result from that project, where we invited artists, art students from all over the world to submit artworks which would relate to the 6 different topics related to ocean conservation. So sea level rise, plastic pollution, dead zones, like in between others. And with the help of an amazing judging committee, we selected 12 winners, 2 per category, to represent those issues. But I think one of the important things that maybe we learn also from Lea and Oceanic was like to approach those subjects like with beauty, like an optimistic tone. Like, so I think like even though like the images that like you see, some of the images like if you look first, like they are like so stunning, but like then I can see that like maybe show the plastic jellyfish, because like for me that's like one of the strongest ones. And it's a photo of like a jellyfish, but there's like a person trying to get away from it. Like, and I think, you know, like it's what Lea always says also, like once you see you can't unsee. Like, and for me that was transformative, because like really like using the arts to be able to convey those messages. Like it did become like a very important, almost core, like for our company eventually, you know, to continue creating projects which help passing forward those important messages. I don't know, is there anything else that I'm forgetting? That was like a brief overview of the collaboration, but
No, I think that's it, and I think it's exactly what we learned, that, you know, beauty is a very important tool to be used to convey messages. And it was, you know, really a fantastic experience, a fantastic collaboration, and it led to, you know, other Artivism Challenge around other topics. So I feel like we all have something within us that kind of empowers us to do what it is that we do. What was it for you, Lea, that made you want to start this company? What was, you know, the trigger right there?
So for me, I had a moment where I mean, I knew I always wanted to go into conservation. I didn't realize it would be so early in these phases of my life. But actually, I was around in 2015, I was in Ibiza in Spain, where I had the idea of Oceanic Ibiza, and I was reading an article that said we had 10 years before our human impact on the oceans was completely irreversible. And that was the wake-up call in that moment, at the stage of the life that I was in and what I was surrounded by, being on the ocean at that time. It really hit me hard. And I was, you know, I was like, wow, how is this not on the front of every single newspaper? And I think the reason I was hit so hard is because I knew the importance of the ocean, and how it is our life source and how interconnected everything is. And I knew what we could lose if we didn't take action for this. And now I know we'll never get to that 100%. But that was what I needed for this to become my mission in life, to really advocate for the ocean. And that's really what it kind of came down to. And just touching upon what you both mentioned, and, you know, seeing you get emotional, Renata, about it, like totally is why art is so important. I think to me here is, it's so hard to connect people to the ocean because it's this huge overarching like thing, right? It's 70% of our planet. So many of us feel so disconnected, and art really can kind of tap into the heart center there and create that emotional attachment to our environment, to our oceans. And I think that's, you know, in the nonprofit space, sometimes what we fail to do. So that's why these types of partnerships are so powerful. And what I love.
What?
I don't know if someone jumped in there, but
no, I'm sorry. I just want.
I think you're on mute.
Sorry, I think Manuela muted.
Yeah.
No, I wanted you to like just develop a little bit more, if you can, just like explain why us creators of land should care so much about the ocean. Like I know like it's the start of everything, but I think it's important to like maybe just talk a little bit about that too.
Of course. So, I mean, you know, the ocean is 70, we live on a blue planet. So I think that's something that we all need to kind of bring it into that perspective. So 70% of our planet is actually made up of the ocean. Over 70% of the oxygen we breathe comes from the ocean. So we are so reliant in terms of every single breath we take is connected to the ocean there. The majority of our food actually is connected to it. So from a life source perspective, you know, without a healthy ocean, like none of the way that we live and take for granted actually exists. And, you know, we hear a lot about climate change, but probably the most valuable, one of the most valuable things that oceans is doing right now is absorbing all this heat that we've put into the atmosphere, and we don't realize that. And that's also one of the reasons why we have more of an imbalance more than ever, and why it's at this huge tipping point right now, which is why in 2020, this needs to be the year where we really start to change things. Because we're starting to see things from ocean acidification to an increase in dead zones to plastic pollution to overfishing. All these things, you know, just at a tipping point right now, and it's really becoming beyond our control. So the oceans are important in every single way. Without a healthy ocean, there is no us. So if we really want to save the human race, we need to start taking action for the ocean and our environment.
Fantastic. And who would you say, I'm just going to piggyback off of the question, are some interesting artists that are pushing the message forward that are worth following?
So some of my favorite artists, and Renata, Manu, jump in at any time because we've worked with a lot of these artists together. One of my favorites is Zaria Foreman, Kristen Hetterman also that we've worked with, Basia, who we've also collaborated on together, who creates amazing 3D installations out of plastic waste. One of my favorite actual physical exhibits right now in New York is a place called Arcadia Earth, which is spearheaded by Valentina Vittori. Galen, who Manu is sharing on screen right now, is actually one of our ambassadors at Oceania Global, and she's an amazing ocean explorer, but also photographer and videographer. So if you're looking at getting inspired, you know, with the ocean and all its beautiful wonders, definitely go and check out Galen's work, as well as Kristen's. But there's so many artists out there. So I think we're really starting to see that. And definitely also check out the Artivism Challenge Gallery, because I think there's over 30 different artists featured in that alone. And I believe we had over 160 applications, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think we had 300 applications.
Nice.
In a month, which was crazy. Like, just to show how on topic we were at the time.
And how engaged people want to be, you know. I think like sometimes we don't know how we could be collaborating, but like the moment you present like an opportunity, people don't think twice about jumping in and sharing their own experiences, you know. Like, and I think what is interesting also to think is that like sometimes what we see like in a local level, like as like one person's like experience like ends up like representing like what a lot of us feels as well, and that's why it's so beautiful to use the arts to really like bring other people on board, you know. I think like you manage to touch their hearts, like, and immediately like you have a better chance of like getting like actionable solutions, you know, like real actions, like looking forward.
Yeah, images are so relatable, right? We can really say that an image tells not even 1,000 words, but 1,000 stories. And each person has their own story when they look at it, and a memory that you grasp on of a world that, you know, may be changing. Lea, like one final question to wrap us up. What do you think has been the most pressing change that has happened during this post-COVID world that affects the ocean directly?
So I don't think we're in the post-COVID world yet. I think we're moving towards it. But you know, I think COVID gave us all a chance to slow down and to reassess what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I really hope that as things start to open up, we realize that the system is currently flawed, especially the environmental structures that we have in place, and we need to do better. And the private sector need to play a larger role, and governments too in this. And we're starting to see that as countries start to open up and start to think about what their environmental agendas are and pushing that forward. So, you know, I hope that, you know, the conversations that have taken place during COVID at all different levels to kind of incorporate sustainability into businesses and governments' ethos will continue moving forward. And I hope that we won't take a step back there, but we'll see this as an opportunity to recreate and come back stronger and better and really take the environmental agenda, you know, to the heart of how we do so.
Yeah, and I think like maybe like if you you're not from New York like Manuela and myself, but we all chose to be there to create our projects, you know, like, and I think I remember you talking about this briefly, like in one of the talks that we attended, like maybe like why there, like why did you choose to be there to start Oceanic Global?
New York, I mean, every country has, you know, its charms, and New York is a city, you can create a lot of change very quickly. So it's, there's a lot of hustle and bustle and energy. And, you know, for some people that can be overwhelming. I love the energy, that this idea of creating. I think the charm of New York is that you have so many different people from all different walks of life, all coming together, wanting to make a difference in whatever way that they're doing so. And, you know, as an organization that is 4 years old, I think anywhere in the world, else in the world, it would have been hard to have the impact and have the partnerships that we currently have to date. So, you know, being based in New York and knowing that the UN headquarters are also here has allowed us to create these types of relationships. You know, so, and I would say at all different levels. So it was definitely a decision that was very kind of thought out in terms of how can we get to the most change quickly and then go to other countries after. And I'm really proud to say that now we're really, you know, we're active in 8 different countries around the world, even though our headquarters are here in New York City.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Lea. Thank you, Renata.
No, I have one more question.
You're a participant.
I'm sorry.
Fantastic journey. Tell us about it, Renata.
That's what I was going to say.
Tell us about the plastic journey.
So, like now that you mentioned, like your presence, like in the 8 different cities, like one of the cities is New York City. So there are the different hubs, which Lea would be a better person to explain. But I just wanted to mention a collaboration that just happened for World Oceans Day through like the New York hub, an artist that we from Alpha introduced to the New York hub, and together they created an amazing conscious coloring book to tell the story of a plastic bag, and that's dedicated like mostly, not exclusively, to kids. So you're supposed to learn why you're painting, like, so like having fun, but also understanding, you know, like what the problems related to plastic pollution are. And the artist who created this project, her name is Kalina Josbuak. like I probably didn't pronounce it properly, but she's as you can see, like a very casual. She is one of the founders of a great project called Painting with Artists, and that's why like we thought it would be like the perfect collaboration, you know, like to bring awareness to kids, like, and to help desperate parents who who need to find good activities for their kids while staying at home. So that's not downloadable. You can purchase this and then download on Oceanic's website. But we're very happy to be able to facilitate that.
And if you're a teacher or an educator, you can send us an email and we'll send it over for free so you can share it with all your students too.
Fantastic. Another wonderful collaboration. May this be, you know, the second, third, fourth, I don't know, of many, many more to come. So thank you so much, Lea. Thank you, Renata. Any last questions?
No, I can shut up.
Okay. Well, thank you. And, you know, we'll see you soon.
Yeah. And for those who are watching, remember, your choices matter.